Thanks. Really nice to be here today. My name is Bolong. So I'm the co-founder of Solar AI Technologies, a clean energy startup really based in Singapore. Initially seed funded by ENGIE, right, one of the world's largest renewable energy companies. As a company, we fundamentally provide and unlock like a new kind of zero upfront cost model for residential as well as small commercial property owners in the region to get solar on their roofs. About 12 months ago, when we launched this, we became the first the only, right, and still one of the first in Southeast Asia to be able to do this. But this model is not new. I mean, of course, many of you might know this, but you've heard of companies like Sunrun, Solar City. It was first really popularized in the US and then in Europe, maybe over the last 5 or 6 years, right? But now having a lot of companies, right, who have grown into unicorn status in Anbau in Germany, for example, within like a 5-year period. And our goal is really to try and bring these models and like localize them into Southeast Asia as a region. I think one of our observations early on was really that if you think about solar as a product, it is unique in a way that it's sold almost exclusively to first-time buyers, right? But one that is typically quite complicated. So the traditional pitch for a residential customer for rooftop solar would really be, okay, an installer might go to them and say, hey, pay $20,000 upfront for a system, right? After maybe about 7 or 8 years, you'd break even. And then, you'll get free electricity for an extra 20 years because the panels are warranted for like 25, 30 years typically. But I think when most people in the region hardly know someone else with a solar system for more than 1 or 2 years, a lot of our customers then tell us they worry about, really high maintenance costs. They worry about whether or not the system might fail. And what we realize is that this actually creates like a really high perceived risk of rooftop solar ownership when we know that the actualized cost of running rooftop solar systems is actually a lot lower, right? Which creates this large arbitrage there. We basically convert this arbitrage opportunity to provide a zero upfront cost risk-free solar as a service model, right? We brand this in the market as a rent-to-own model at this point. Essentially, in the proposition of what we do, we finance, we install and maintain rooftop solar systems on behalf of customers, simply charging them like a flat monthly fee over a 5 or 10-year period that is already lower than their bill savings, right? Giving them a risk-free way to just start saving from solar while they're also paying off their system. In the company, I mean, we digitize kind of the end-to-end solar process by combining data analytics with software to allow customers to self-serve and really dramatically reduce the cost of sales as well as operations on rooftop solar projects, allowing us to then profitably offer these kinds of zero upfront cost solutions, right, to this underserved segment effectively. So this customer journey is really kind of digital, right? From our online solar assessment tool, which you can find on our website, through to bringing customers on a digital site survey. And we've really only kind of head down for a site confirmation after a customer has given us kind of indication of interest on one of our plans. We launched this really 12 months ago, but by now I think have really strong confidence that we're solving an important pain point in the market. So out of about 100 contracts that we have on the rent-to-own model at this point in time, typically our 10-year plans might have about a 70% price premium, right, compared to a customer paying upfront. And despite this, when we put our 10-year, 5-year plans and upfront purchase in front of customers, 9 out of 10 customers will choose our rent-to-own plans. I'll talk a little bit more about structure, I think, because this is unique. We've structured these projects at this point in time under ring-fence SPVs, right, which are 100% owned by project financiers, so that ultimately our books are asset-light and platform-focused. So these financiers deploy capital into the SPVs. We then use this capital to really purchase the solar panels, inverters, pay off the contractors, right, and all customers' payments are channeled into the SPV. What this results in is, as a company, Solar AI then really serves as like a fund manager, right? In essence, making our business as well as our balance sheet capex zero, with just recurring revenues that we take out of these SPVs based on development as well as management fees over the contract durations of like 5 or 10 years or more. In the past year or so, we've now exceeded about $4 million in terms of deployed capital for rooftop solar projects, right? We've also then kind of proven out LTV to CAC ratios of 10x. These are strict LTV to CAC, meaning including all our sales and marketing salaries, while also providing our financiers with kind of above industry average returns. As co-founders, I mean, I think we really bring our experience and kind of operational know-how from running tech startups and fintechs, joining that with like a tech-focused approach, right, to really try and change the way that rooftop solar as an industry functions, as well as the way it's sold and deployed in the market. Ultimately, the ambition is really to try and deploy more than $500 million of rooftop solar across Southeast Asia in the next 5 years, right? And what we believe to be one of the most kind of effective ways to decarbonize the planet. As Joan mentioned, I mean, we just recently closed off like a fundraising round. So not actively fundraising, but then kind of also looking to try and align ourselves with strategic capital, maybe even angels with small tickets potentially who could bring us market access across Southeast Asia.